Namaste. Welcome to this cycle of conferences about living water, organized by Voice of Plenty. My name is Giulia. I am from Italy, and I am a free researcher, independent researcher. We can say I am an observer of life. I am just passing by through this experience, observing, doing experience of different things because I'm very curious, and create a union, creating a synesthesia between different things, because in everything you can see everything, in every little things, in every little part of microscopic world you can see the macroscopic cosmos. So welcome to my journey. This is the first class about ancient civilization and living water. Our journey starts from Kyrgyzstan, Songkhul Lake. This for me was the starting point of everything, because I was there for 2 weeks and I joined nomadic shepherds that still used to live nowadays in a very simple life, with very simple tradition of bringing animals during summer in these very high mountains. The high is more than 3,000 meters. So they live in the yurtens and they use the normal water of streams. And I was there with them, so of course I started to drink this kind of water, and water that was flowing, water that was passing through rocks. And I really love trekking and I really love hiking in the mountains, so it was not the first time for me. But here I made for a long time. That's why probably this water had an effect on my water. And I started to be aware about the effect and the quality of water. Ancient civilization used to build their towns on the water. Really on the water. It's like that. We start our journey from Turkey. This is a very ancient archaeological site. Nobody knows actually when the first civilization arrived in this place. It is the river Euphrates. And it's really amazing because here you can see one of the wonderful meander that the river makes. When water is free to express itself, it likes to create curves and meanders. Meanders is the proper name of the curves of the river. That's why we can see that everywhere when there is a free river, there are always a lot of these sinusoidal curves and shapes. And this civilization, you can see it builds an amazing town just inside the rocks, over the river. You can see here the windows, everything is built inside the rock. Everything is made by hands. You can also see here the terraces. It's very clear. And we can learn easily, studying ancient civilizations, how their technology about work with stones and rocks was advanced. Here we are in Iran, Shustar. It's a very beautiful hydraulic archaeological site that still you can visit nowadays. And many water systems still are working. And please have a look about how many waterfalls there are here. there is a very big water natural basin that is kept alive, and maybe man then slowly, we can say, no, added the artificial part, creating buildings and little streams and channel for water. They made a very, very complex hydraulic system. Here you can see many parts are lost, but waterfalls are following precise channels. Look here how they made in a very precise way also this shape and creating the curves, creating the vortex. This is something very important we will discuss in the next classes. And here we are instead in Iraq. This is the rebuilding, reconstruction of the ancient town of Nineveh. Here we are with Assyrians, and we are on Tigris River. It's really amazing because you can see how there was a very big lake, artificial lake, inside the walls of the city, and how many terraces also here. Everybody we know about the gardens of ancient Babylonia with many floors, with many terraces, and this is a clue that we can remember and we can bring with us. Look at the waterfall. There was a waterfall coming down, waterfall, a fountain. Now we will see many. Here, of course, we are in Egypt. And in Luxor, there was an amazing lake. I don't call it pool because this water was alive. It was connected with streams and channels, so this water was not still. And they were very big, very huge lakes. We have also other kinds of pools. This is a pool, but still also here the water is not dead. You can see from the colors, otherwise it would have been full of plants. And this is just an hypothesis about how the Osirion in Abydos in Egypt was in ancient times, because nobody knows actually, but we can see, of course, that the main part in the center was filled with water, was also a very big basin of water. Here, instead, we make a big jump because we move to the other continent, and we see the huge technology of the Incas civilization in Cusco, Peru. Incas were amazing builders, and you can see here the majestic technology they had for fixing the stones. Because stones, they don't have space. They are really connected one to the other, like they are melted together. So this civilization had a knowledge that we lost about how use matter and how to change the density of matter for creating this amazing construction that we know very well, also the pyramids. But here you can see something that maybe a few people knows. They were very advanced in hydraulic, because they were also very advanced in agriculture, of course. But for agriculture, they were using a special kind of water, and their water was always alive. They were keeping alive with waterfalls and jumps. So you can see the big terraces and the water doing many jumps here, and the channels. And here in Machu Picchu is very clear how they were using the rain for creating active water, doing jumps inside terraces. That's why the agriculture there was so much evolved and advanced because they were using a very high level water. Here we can see also these very particular places. The archaeologist says these places were used for experimental agriculture. They are built by hands, of course, because official architecture or official archaeologists, sorry, they say that everything was made by hand with very simple instruments. Anyway, no comment about this, but yeah, they are so much huge, also in altitude, that they say that in every different level, the temperature is a bit different. So also the humidity. And they were cultivating different kind of corn or plants in each level, or vegetables, of course. So at each level had specific properties and qualities, and different kind of condition for allowing different kind of cultivations. Of course, you can see how in this way water was collecting in the center, the rain and also the waterfalls. It was like a very big basin of accumulation. And here we are, I feel, in front of a kind of technology that we don't know anymore. And indeed, this technology was connected with water, because when it is raining here, something very special is happening for sure. And we know also that Incas used to collect water in many other ways. This is an example. They were aware that water needs to do vortex and spirals, so they were collecting directly with the shape of vortex and spirals. This is very simple. And water was collected inside some tanks, natural tanks, or under soil caves. We don't know, because also here there are many hypotheses about what they were doing with that water then. But you can see how precise were their entrance. Here you can see from above. It's really amazing, their system of collection of water. Water was just entering, creating a spiral, creating a perfect spiral. And here again we can see another system of terraces with, of course nowadays we cannot see anymore the hydraulic system, but it's the same for the circuit hydraulic system we saw before. So here we see terraces, and this kind of terraces we can see in many other places in the world. Actually, all the ancient civilization had this kind of terraces. Here we go to Pakistan, because actually this is a site that I visited. I also studied a lot, because it is one of the most ancient cities. And in these cities, they didn't find any temple, they didn't find any church, something connected with a specific religion, known religion, we can say. Anyway, there was a very, very big basin of water. Again, with this is a reconstruction, of course, but there are many channels, and we know also that they used to have open air systems for removing waters from houses and bringing hot water inside houses, so their system of hydraulic was very, very advanced. It's amazing to visit these places because everything is still there, and the bricks, they seem made just a few times ago. And then we moved to India. That is one of my favorite places for studying. I studied Indian philosophy, and here I would like today to express how much this culture brought about water, how much knowledge they had. Still, I cannot understand how deep they were. Look at this place, it is largely built on the water. You know very well, still nowadays, that all the Indian rituals are connected with water. We know about the Ganga River. We know about Indus Valley civilization we saw before Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. They were all connected to big rivers. So again, ancient civilization who were connected with rivers and the living water. But we have something more here. This is Jaipur temple in India, and yeah, just imagine what will happen here when it is raining. This is the perfect geometry of the stairs, creating the different levels. Water is falling and collected, but this is also a concert. This is also a very precise music with specific frequencies created by water. And now we arrive to one of my favorite archaeological sites, religious place, spiritual place, Angkor Wat in Cambodia. Yeah, this is the period the archaeologist says for the building of this majestic temple. There is a kind of fractal. From a mathematical point of view, I have studied theoretical physics and theory of chaos. I really like physics. So yeah, its shapes is really amazing, and the structure, yeah, of course, it's a symbol like a pine, but it's also a fractal. This we will see in further videos. Anyway, in Angkor Wat, we find still nowadays this is the biggest water basin, artificially made by hand, because these ancient people, they didn't have any advanced technology and electricity, or anyway, everything was excavated by hand. This is the biggest basin made by man on the planet, and the water is alive. The water is alive. That means it doesn't create a mud or a swamp. It's always alive because it's connected with internal channels and under soil channels. So the temple, literally, it is built on an artificial island. And I have to say thank you to Praveen Mohan, because thanks to his video, I was able to go deeply inside this study. Here we can see another view, and you see there are, in ancient time, there was only one bridge. The second one was added. And the orientation of the building, for those who are interested in archaeoastronomy as me, and astrology, is perfectly connected with stars, and of course there are specific moments in which sun is coming directly from the center of the temple during equinox, solstice. There are perfect synchronizations. And here we can see something very interesting, because just nearby this temple, in the Cabalspin River, there is a very particular place in which thousands of sculptures are engraved just in the river, inside the place, the bed, we say, of the river. But why? Yeah, archaeologists say that they are religious sculptures, but they are very particular. As you can see, there are thousands and thousands of lingams. Everybody knows for sure what is a lingam, and this is something so ancient that we can find in every ancient temple of India, from north to south, and also of course in Cambodia, because Cambodia was a part of the same civilization, Indonesia, so you can find it in many places. But what is more interesting is that it is connected always with water. Still nowadays, lingams are connected with water in rituals. Some liquid is put on them, is poured on them. And lingams are often made of a very specific kind of stones, of rocks. I visited many places, and of course, what you can find is really amazing. There are so many different kind of lingams in specific places, especially inside caves, with particular kind of density of the matter, with specific kind of minerals and metals inside the rock, creating specific magnetic fields, of course. So water connected with these kind of rocks, yeah, there is a kind of connection with electricity, electromagnetism, for sure, because we know nowadays that water is creating ionization when it is passing through, when it is passing like in little rivers, little streams, through rocks, because the effect of the strength of the water plus the magnetism of the rocks that are ferromagnetic rocks quite often, like in this case, they can add electromagnetism to water, and in this way creating ionization of the water. So here you can really see it's amazing. It's like water is passing in these little streams through the lingams. And then you can find also this kind of constructions and engraving inside the water, inside the river. You can see everywhere. It's really amazing how many they are. And they are in specific numbers, of course, specific frequencies, and they are everywhere under the water. Here you can see other shapes. You can really understand how water passing through this area is creating a kind of vortex. And then we will explain better, but when water is meeting an obstacle, especially round shape, immediately it is creating a vortex, because the flowing of the water, the rays of the field of the fluid against an obstacle, it is coming back and it is creating a round shape and then spiral and the vortex. So just after the obstacle there are the vortex, and you can see here how many sequences of vortex are artificially created. They're really amazing. And probably this pound, this bath was a ritual bath in which man was able to receive the benefits from the water, the bliss from the water. Now we move in another place. We are always in India, and this is Shamala River in Karnataka. And you can see here it's very far from Cambodia, but still we find the same things. We find lingams and sculptures inside the water. This is another amazing archaeological place. I will explain better in one class only dedicated to India. Because now we move to Europe. It is also my place, so I studied also with a lot of attention and passion. And we start from Malta, just because Malta is a very ancient place, once connected with Sicily, but still we can see, even if a part is disappeared, now it is under the sea, of course, how they were advancing, creating terraces everywhere. Nowadays, actually, Malta is really totally disappeared, we can say, because there is no agriculture left just little farms, and there is a lot of tourism, and the quality of the food is very low, and especially they don't have water. They bring a lot of water from Italy, and yeah, it's something very, very sad. Anyway, we can see from yeah, of course, this was a place here on the right for producing salt also. But anyway, Malta hosted a very ancient civilization connected also with the ritual of astronomy. They were keeping the measurements of the moving of the stars with their temples. And also we have these lines. These lines we can find in many places all around the world. It's very interesting. These are called cart routes. And yeah, there are many hypotheses about them. I will prepare a video also about this topic because it's very interesting. But just to say that some hypotheses were considered about the using connected with water because they were very deep. So maybe at one point also a kind of a stream was created, like water was going inside and was creating specific kind of trajectories. Anyway, it seems quite clear that at some point a very fast passage was induced by climatic change or something else, because it seems like this rock became a rock very fast, and before it was very soft. Anyway, I will explain in another video. Let's remind about them, because we find many of them also connected to well. You can see here, for instance, so they are connected with specific places. And here we are in Sicily, where I live, and you can see how terraces are present in Sicily since the beginning and still nowadays. What remains, but still it is amazing to see how every mountain of Sicily is full of terraces everywhere and connected with water, because the ancient civilizations used to live inside the canyons. And here we are in Cava Carosello, nearby Noto, in Sicily. This is a lake at the end of a very long canyon, in which people used to live again inside the mountains, inside the caves. And they had a very advanced hydraulic system. Actually, this beautiful lake is just in the front of a very high mountains, so it's one of the best swimming pools in which I always used to go. It is a live swimming pool made of living water. Here we are in Cava Prainito, nearby Rosolini. This is another very advanced ancient city. Thousands of people used to live in these places. They built caves of many floors, and you can see here there were rocks engraved for bringing water also in little channels parallel to the stream. And here you can see the caves. Actually now a part was destroyed, a very big part. Almost all these ancient towns were destroyed by what they call the earthquake of 1693, but I don't think it was an earthquake. Anyway, this is another topic we can discuss further. Here we are in Cava Prainito, and also in Cava Prainito you can say there are the same amazing cart routes of Malta. And from above you can see the very big systems of tanks or buildings, and these two little places, they say they are all graves. Anyway, this is a typical landscape of archaeological sites of Sicily. This is just an example because there are many more famous than these, like Cava Grande del Cassibile, but just for showing you an example of something that maybe just a few people knows. And let's move to Sardinia, because in Sardinia there is something very exciting to discover. That is the well of Santa Cristina. Still, we are nowhere in the time. I mean, there are hypotheses, but these are very ancient places. And look at this. It is a well that is creating a very specific counting of the time and especially about the movement of the stars and seasons and synchronization with cosmic events. So this is a double star bringing down, and from this little hole the sun rays and the moon is going inside, so that in specific times like the equinox you can see this amazing reflex of your shadow upside down. And this is the effect. All equinox there is this precise effect, and every 18 years yeah, we can see also here during 18 years and a half during spring equinox, the moon during the nearest full moon to the spring equinox, the moon is reflecting perfectly inside the water, because water here is used as a mirror. So of course nowadays this is what remains. The water is very dark like mud. Anyway, in the past it was pure. Here in Sardinia we find a lot of cart routes, a lot. Yeah, I just show you these cart routes because for me this is something so interesting, and I'm still studying them. Many archaeologists propose they are like calendars for the moons, for having a memory about the moments for agriculture again, but they are so long, so like in Nazca. So there is something more for sure about them that we don't know. And then we see our friends Romans. Yeah, of course, here we come in something very famous, but maybe just a few people knows that Romans had very advanced hydraulic systems. Of course, they learned from previous civilization. They were using a lot of swimming pools and rivers, and hydraulic systems were used for moving water also in different levels. Here you can see this amazing wheel, and still nowadays there is a reconstruction, but actually this is in the same place because the building is original, so only the wood part was reconstructed. This was a water system, hydraulic system made by Romans. And here nowadays you can see still as it was originally. We are in Noria, Syria. And Romans, we know also, I will be very fast about their bridges for water, and they were very advanced. They made studies bringing water for many kilometers, adding some artificial lakes for storage in different levels. And they made a lot of swimming pools. We can see still nowadays some original, like this one in Tunisia. This is a Roman pool, always of course with waterfall, so the water doesn't become still and dead. And here we are in one of the most beautiful places of Italy. This is Villa Adriana in Tivoli. So we are 118 after Christ. This is how it is nowadays. This is how it was originally, maybe, because this is a reconstruction anyway. It should be at least like that. Okay, and we can see how water is always the protagonist, the main character of all the landscape. Here you can see also the ceiling with the stars. It's really beautiful. And yeah, look at how the water was used, because these little fountains here, and then we'll see were also with water jumping. Here you can see better There were a lot of stairs made for the water, for doing jumps. And probably here is, of course, the reconstruction. There was a specific kind of agriculture or a specific kind of plants. And this was a flowing water fountain. This is simply amazing, so I have no words. It's a huge pool. This is, of course, an hypothesis of the surroundings. Probably it was full of statues. We found these ones for sure in the middle, and you can see other one in this square, the Golden Square, another very huge water basin with fountains. In Serapeum, it's really more evident the use of waterfall. In each little niches here, we can find flowing waterfall, and also here, two huge. You see, this is a very huge waterfall coming from the roof. And there is also water here, a little pool here. And all the places, especially places for studying, are surrounded by water. Can you imagine how it can be to study in a place like that? How much peace you can feel, how much deep you can go inside the understanding. And what remains, these buildings, slowly they were abandoned, they were destroyed. And still here in 1700 we can see the painting of the ruins of a Roman villa. And there was still a very huge water fountain inside with very high jumping, and yeah, it's really incredible, huh? It was inside, and people was walking over the waterfall. Villa Adriana was built nearby a beautiful river, the river Aniene in Tivoli. And this river, just next to this villa, had a very, very huge waterfall. It was so huge. Can you see? These are ancient images. Actually, water was coming from everywhere. And the houses and maybe also temples were built on the waterfall, just on the waterfall. It was a very important place. The energy of this place was very high. We have a huge of paintings about the original waterfall. Here we are in 1700. You can see how the environment changed. They removed the temple here. There are new buildings, but still the waterfall is still there. And this, unluckily, it is how it is nowadays at the same place. So you can still see the original Romance bricks here. When you see this kind of bricks, it is a Romance, and also some original arches, but the question is, where is the water? Where is the water? I keep on saying water is dangerous for us, but between disappearing and dangerous waterfall, there is a very big place. So here the question is, where is the water? Now we move to study mikveh, the Jewish bath. Here we are in Israel, and this is an archaeological site. All the ancient religions, as we have already seen, are connected with water. And water was used before praying, or in cycle, for purification. But purification, we don't know exactly what they mean for purification. It can be for removing something from us. It can also be to bring new frequencies to us, to create resonance between human beings, to create coherent domains of our molecules. So when we are inside living water, water is communicating with us that kind of frequencies. So here Jewish, they use the integral bath, like also Christians used to do in the beginning. And yeah, Christians, they still have at the entrance of the church is a little place for keeping water, and you have to touch your hand in the water, and then you have to put your hand in the water, and then to touch your forehead with that water. So this is what remains, but originally also Christians had these places for integral baptism, this is called. And Jewish, of course, they were before, so they also received this kind of information from someone else, but still they were using for a long time. Here you can see we are back to Italy. So this is Israel, this is Italy, this is again a mikveh, a Jewish bath in Syracuse, Italy. It happened that one person was just doing some works in his cellar, and they found this amazing site just under the soil of their house. And you can see this is really living water. In Syracuse there is the stream called Aretusa, just nearby the sea. And it's a very, very, very much a sacred place on the island of Ortigia. So we come now to study a little bit what Arabic culture made, because they started to build their buildings after in Italy, in Spain, in Turkey. So they brought their knowledge coming also from the East, and in their places the water systems are really incredible, very, very much advanced. Here we are in Sevilla, Spain, Alcazar. They say 11th century. All the dates I bring here, it's the official dates. I don't agree about the official dates at all, so yeah, I have my ideas about the ancient civilizations, and anyway, I bring here the official dates for the construction of these buildings that I'm showing to you. For this kind of civilization, we have more documents, of course, because still the building is there, quite original, even if many changes are made. For instance, here we are in Palermo, because Sicily was under the domain of Arabic culture for many centuries. So here we have a castle built in 1165 in Palermo, the capital of Sicily. This is called the Ziza Castle, and the fountains were amazing. Unluckily nowadays, this is a very ancient pictures. Nowadays they are totally closed. There is no more water. Inside there was a beautiful fountain. You can see here the typical Arabic architecture, and water was coming out from here and doing all this jumping, and here there was a water flow also in the air in many parts, and these channels then were bringing water outside until here. Okay, so it was just one waterfall made with many terraces again. I often go to this place, it's really amazing. Just next to this castle there is also the archaeological site of a thermal bath from Roman times. It's a place connected with water for sure. And here we go back to Spain, because we are a bit later, 1200. Here we are in Granada, Alhambra. And you know very well that Islamic culture is very much connected with water. They do ablutions, they do always before praying, and usually they use fountains. They use fountains also nowadays. So still they try to use living water, but if the water is coming from the sink or for the channels under the soil that are straight, of course the water is no more alive. Anyway, here we are still in ancient times, so these fountains are so beautiful. Here you can see again the water system coming from here. There is water surrounding the fountain. Of course, you have to imagine here a jet of water coming out, and here the water was going on again, and also from here. These are all little channels of water. So water was practically going everywhere. And here it is Lahore Palace in Pakistan, 1500. Now we are coming towards our end of this class. This is a place I visited twice. And really we cannot imagine how it was in the past without the water. Because there was water everywhere here, this was a platform for dancing, like an island surrounded by water. This pool was full of water, and again you can see the channels coming, like in Alhambra and in Granada, coming here. And in front of this amazing place, you should go to see the advanced skills for building other places. Everything is made with glasses, and the light there is so special. So it's like you have water on the floor and water on the roof, and the effect of light is incredible. So there was music, water was connected with music. Again, please remind this point. And here you can see a little bit reconstructed the gardens, but it's so huge. You can stay there whole day walking. And luckily, all these gardens nowadays, the fountains doesn't work anymore. This is really the point. Because you can see how many fountains here inside you had in the past. So it was a wonderful music. So thank you so much for listening, and please always remember to do your own research, because you cannot find all the answers you are looking for inside science. You cannot find in Google, of course. And you cannot find maybe also all in your religion, all in your culture. So my suggestion is to develop your own research. Krishnamurti used to say, truth doesn't have one path, but you have to create your own path. And I wish you the best for your own research and for your freedom, inner freedom. And namaste. See you in the next class.